everyone, and today we're gonna go explore the Outback.
Not today, we have work to do.
Okay, so maybe we're not gonna explore the Outback, but I've got 10 filmmaking tips to make you a better DSLR filmmaker. Tip number 1, turn off that record button noise when you hit record. That sound. It's not really that necessary, and when you're in quiet situations, it can be really annoying, and especially at weddings, at a ceremony, you do not want to be beeping. I just hit record and I can see that I'm recording from the record button visually. Number 2, map a convenient button on your camera for focus peaking. When I'm looking through the camera right here, I have a very convenient button on the front of the GH5 I'm able to hit to turn focus peaking on and off. Not all cameras have a button right on the front, but try mapping a convenient function for that. Number 3, the strap. Remove the strap. Some people do some shots with it to keep their camera steady. If you want to film like that, fine. I just don't use mine for that reason, so I just take it off, and then it just doesn't get in the way of anything. And knock on wood, I haven't dropped a camera yet. I'm very careful with my cameras. If you're not so careful, maybe keep the strap on. Another thing that I'll do sometimes is I'll put a little piece of tape on these metal holsters, because when you're filming, they may make some noise and the microphone will pick that noise up. So I just tape them down. Number 4, use a GorillaPod. You can just manipulate this and hold this in so many different ways. Sometimes I just hold it like this. Whatever is comfortable for you for that handheld look. I use this all the time. Sometimes I shoot an entire wedding with this. And that helps to not drop the camera. So the strap's not on the camera, but I've got this thing. It's not going anywhere. The other thing you can do is turn it upside down if you need to get shots really low to the ground. Which leads me to number 5. Sometimes I use this to get pretty cinematic shots. I have a gimbal, an electronic gimbal, but it can be kind of inconvenient to take the camera back and forth between the gimbal and the GorillaPod or whatever else you're using. Sometimes there's not time for that, and I just use my body for cinematic shots, like so. I will just use my hips and slowly move from left to right, and you can kind of rotate around an object. Number 6, the ND filter. I used to not know where to put this thing. I'm constantly going inside to outside and vice versa during weddings, and so I came up with the most convenient, safest place for it, which is right here in my shirt pocket. So that way, when I'm going outside, I can just take it out, screw it on the camera real quick. If you have 2 pockets, you could even put an ND filter in one and a microfiber cloth in the other. Tip number 7. When I'm outside, I'm trying to use my viewfinder as much as possible. It is so much more clear and you can see things so much better. I also love this screen and I use this a lot inside, but I try to use the viewfinder. Speaking of screens, protect them. Put a screen protector on these. You can find them custom made for your camera online. Your camera will be happy that you did this. 8, when you're changing lenses, keep your camera face down. It keeps dust away from the sensor, or if there's wind blowing, it'll help keep dirt and dust out of there. The other thing is, keep the back of your lens clean. If the back of your lens is dirty, you're gonna be putting that into the sensor area. Tip number 9, slow motion. I have found 96 frames per second to be such a magic number for slow-mo. And the GH5 has it, and if your camera has 96 frames per second, try using that instead of 120. Sometimes 120 is a lot slower than I need. If 120 is all you have, fine, but try 96 frames per second. I have found it to be a great number for slow motion. Tip number 10, learn what not to shoot when you're filming. Instead of just recording everything, learn what you already have and learn what you need. And when something happens, move on to the next thing. Just something to think about when you're filming. Maybe try like being a little more strategic about when you're recording. And it will save you so much time in editing. So those are my 10 filmmaking tips for now. There will probably be more in the future. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube. Hopefully some of those will help you out, and I will keep making wedding films and commercials and videos like this one. So let's get out there and go tell some stories.